said in his report, quote, "The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government." Republicans argue that's proof that you used your position on the Intelligence Committee to intentionally mislead Americans, which is why you should not be on that committee.
If you read the Mueller report, he makes clear, even in the first few pages of the report, that he states no conclusion on whether Donald Trump and his campaign colluded with the Russians. But what he does reveal in his report, what we found in our investigation, is that Donald Trump's campaign manager was sharing internal campaign polling data and their strategy for key battleground states with an agent of Russian intelligence, while that same unit of Russian intelligence was helping the Trump campaign, both with a hacking and dumping operation, as well as a social media operation to elect Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. To most Americans, that is collusion. Now, whether it's proof beyond reasonable doubt of the crime of conspiracy, that's what Bob Mueller was talking about. I've always distinguished between the two. But let me just set the record straight. This is only one of a shifting series of rationalizations and pretexts that McCarthy is using.
Well, let me give you another. He says that this is part of a pattern. Ahead of the first Trump impeachment, you said the committee had not spoken to a whistleblower. In fact, that turned out not to be true. You know, the Washington Post said so in their fact check.
The Washington Post identified that, yes, before the person became a whistleblower, they sought advice from the committee. When I was asked the question, I thought they were referring to whether we had brought the whistleblower in. And I should have been more clear in my answer. But again, let's be clear what's really going on here. McCarthy has said Adam Schiff prosecuted the case against Trump. The Ukraine impeachment was a hoax. He's given 15 explanations. The only real explanation is he needs Marjorie Taylor Greene's vote. He needs Paul Gosar's vote. He wants to retaliate for their removal from the committee. And apparently he believes I was very effective in exposing his misconduct, Donald Trump's misconduct, and that's what they're trying to stop. I think that he benefits from having these smears repeated, and that's part of what he gains from it. But this is a pretext and nothing more.
Yeah, and which is why this is a chance for you to explain and to give your side of that, as opposed to just simply repeating it. On that, Congressman, you were also removed by Republicans from the Intelligence Committee. What the Speaker said about you is that beginning in 2012, a suspected Chinese spy developed ties to you and to your office, even put an intern there, raised campaign funds for you. You say very clearly you cut off ties with this person back in 2015 when you found out you cooperated with the FBI. But the bottom line question is this. Did you put yourself in a vulnerable position in any way so that this alleged Chinese spy could have benefited or even learn American secrets?
Yeah. Absolutely not. But Dana, don't take my word for it. Take the FBI's word for it. They never talk about ongoing investigations. And former Chairman Schiff knows this as a member of the Gang of Eight. 3 different times they came out and said 2 things. All I did was help them, and also I was never under any suspicion of wrongdoing. But more than that, Speaker Boehner was briefed on this investigation. He could have removed me just as Speaker McCarthy did. He didn't. Devin Nunes was the chair of the Intelligence Committee. Never made a public peep about this. Paul Ryan would have access to the same investigation, reappointed me to the committee. Donald Trump, who villainized me at every rally, more access to classified information than any person who walked the earth. If he could have weaponized that to go after me, he would have. There's nothing there. I did what every American should have. This is some Bakersfield BS. It's Kevin McCarthy weaponizing his ability to commit this political abuse because he perceives me, just like Mr. Schiff and Ms. Omar, as an effective political opponent.
Well, let me ask you, Congresswoman Omar, about what Republicans are saying about you, that there is a pattern of anti-Semitic and other controversial statements that make you unfit to sit on, in your case, the House Foreign Affairs Committee. I'm told that Republicans presented a list in their private meeting this past week. Included in that list is that you said that Israel hypnotized the world. You said Israel is an apartheid regime, that politicians with pro-Israel stances were all about the Benjamins, which you very notably apologized for, that you support the BDS movement, which a lot of people think is rooted in anti-Semitism, compared the U.S. and Israel to Hamas and the Taliban. I want to give you a chance to respond to all of that, which they say is a clear pattern?
Yeah. I might have used words at the time that I didn't understand were trafficking in anti-Semitism. When that was brought to my attention, I apologized. I owned up to it. That's the kind of person that I am. And I continue to work with my colleagues and my community to fight against anti-Semitism. Now, I've never compared or made any comparisons. What I was referencing was a case that was in front of the ICC. And if they want to debate political differences, and that's something that we should all have the opportunity to do so, but to smear someone and their character, their love for their country, and the work that they get to do on a committee is wrong, and it is politically motivated, and in some cases is motivated by the fact that many of these members don't believe a Muslim, a refugee, an African should even be in Congress, let alone have the opportunity to serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee.
You said that before. I mean, it sounds like you're accusing Kevin McCarthy of racism.
I mean, I'm not making any accusations. I'm just laying out the facts. You remember Donald Trump coming into my state and saying Muslims, Somali refugees are infiltrating our country. You remember Marjorie Taylor Greene coming to Congress after Rashida and I got sworn in and saying Muslims are infiltrating Congress. You remember Boebert saying that I was a terrorist. What did McCarthy do? He said she apologized and we don't have to worry about her Islamophobia. That never happened. And so these people are okay with Islamophobia. They're okay with trafficking in their own ways in anti-Semitism. They are not okay with having a Muslim have a voice on that committee.
Well, let me